there's a collaboration going on. Brutus Monroe and Thermo Web collaborated to make a really fun collection of, well, there's toner sheets, there's stamps, there's dies, there's a stencil, and there's some really cool foil. So we are going to have fun with that. Well, hello, Lenore. How are you doing? Thanks for joining tonight. So this is the Magical Monarch stamp set. I'll put it on the white so you can see it. So you've got these two different butterflies and then the overlays and then these really cute flowers. It's got great sentiments, be the best version of you. I really like that one. And then beauty is everywhere and sending butterfly kisses. So these are really fun. And so the stamp set in and of itself is definitely something I would use. I think it's so cute. I love it. And then you've got the coordinating dies. So you've got the inside and the outside of the butterflies. And then, of course, your flowers at the bottom. And then there's toner sheets that coordinate. I've got one of them right here that we're going to use. And then you've got the positive and negative. So you've got all these different patterns here. And then this, there's a stencil. So if you're not somebody who likes to foil, you could just use the stencil. You could use the stencil with your toner sheets and just go ahead and ink blend, which is what I did here, is I ink blended on that. And then you can go ahead and layer it with either the stamp or you could just use the stencil. So already you can see there's tons of options, and also the dies match fit these as well. So you've got all the options that come along with that as well. So then this is kind of the heart of this that is just so fun. So this foil is called Magical Shattered Glass, and it might not look like a lot. I hope you can see it right now, but it's so cool because it works really well. Like we're going to use it today with Chroma Glaze because foil's great, but most of the time foil has that kind of mirror foil background and you can't really see through it. But this foil is transparent, so you can see through it and see all the colors come through. So we are definitely going to be having some fun with that. So I say we just get started. So the first thing I'm going to do, I tried to do a little prep work because the Chroma Glaze, also Thermo Web has a clear one that's called Transfer Gel Duo, which works like the Chroma Glaze, but we are going to go with the color today and just kind of show that off. So I did all of these different glazes ahead of time because they do take a little time to dry. I did leave one open though so that we could do one together, and then hopefully it'll be dry enough. Ooh, I don't know. This one I did about a half hour ago and it's still a little tacky. Okay, let's see. We may have to wait a minute before we can do that. I wonder if it would matter. You know, I think we're just going to do it on the opposite side. They're pretty much the same. I just flipped the stencil over, so now we don't have to lay it on top. Well, is that you, Candy? This is Chroma Glaze. So Chroma Glaze, you can see, is really fun. So I guess I should back up a little bit. What I did on this is I used Simon Hurley inks to ink blend with the stencil over the toner panel. These were all white and I just ink blended. And I would have shown you that, but I just wanted to have this part dried before I start. Other than this one, of course. And so then I took Chroma Glazes, and you can see I've got several. And there are, I think it's kind of fun how the Chroma Glazes match the inks. You've got, all of these are Simon Hurley, and then all of the different Brutus Monroe Chroma Glazes on top. So we're going to take the green. I do that all the time too, Candy, so I knew it was you. I'm glad I'm not the only one that does that. So let's take a little bit of our green. We used lime on this one, and we're going to use the green on this kind of, this is, I used Tropical Tango ink on this butterfly. And now we'll just use the teal, or no, this is green Chroma Glaze. Ooh, kind of have more on there than I want. So we're just going to flip that over and get this last butterfly so it can be drying so that we can do something cool with it before we're done today. All right. Let me just carefully, I kind of want to scrape it a little bit. I'm going to carefully peel that off. And so now we can let that dry, and then we are going to do something really fun with that. Okay, I just have to put it somewhere where I'm not going to lay stuff in it, because that is something I would do. So that one is by far going to be the most complicated card, which still isn't very complicated. I'm going to show you really easy ways to foil. If you have never foiled, let me tell you, that's one of those crafty things that I was scared of. One of those things that I just found intimidating until I've actually done it. And I had so much fun. We had this collaboration going, and so I made some samples for that. And I was even hesitant to sign up to do the collaboration, because I was like, I'm certainly no foil expert. But I had so much fun putting it together. I hope that you, if you are nervous about it, that you will feel less nervous about it after we play today. Okay, so let's do, so this one, we'll do that one next. I think we'll get that one inked up and let it dry a little bit before we actually foil it. So I'm going to use some foil that is not part of the collaboration, but I've had it in my stash for a while, and I just think it's really pretty, and it's called Summer Rainbow, and everything that I use will be in the link that Darren puts up. But I wanted to do something with the background, so I'm just going to use some inks and some blending brushes, and we're going to just kind of mimic these colors. So let's start with, let's do Traffic Cone using our Simon Hurley inks. And I'm not really worried about going over it where there's toner, because we're going to let it dry for a bit before we use it anyway. So I think it should be okay. I don't think we'll run into any problems with the foil sticking, but if we do, then you'll learn something right along with me, because I told you I'm not an expert, but I have been having a lot of fun with it. So we'll see what happens. And a lot of what I'm doing tonight might just be an experiment. So I hope you're okay with that. Okay, so we're just going to, but Candy, is foiling not the most fun ever? Candy did a live last night, and she used some foil too. We're having a lot of fun with this collection. It's so fun to work with. There's just so many things you can do with it. I love anything that will give me some options, you know? I like to have some creative license in there. All right, and now we will do Shooting Star. That one was Prom Queen. This is Shooting Star. Okay, so now we've got this ready to go. So I'm just gonna let that dry a little bit. And just for good measure, I'm just gonna wipe it off a little bit with my microfiber cloth, just to let it kind of smooth out a little bit and dry a little bit more. And so now, while we're letting that just kind of soak in, let's go on to a different one. So I have a few different ideas. Let's do, I've got a couple of different foils here. So let's use our sketch foils on one of these. I've got purple, green, and silver sketch foil. It's really cool. I can't wait to show you. It's got a really fun texture to it. So this is the purple. You can see, oops, I've got two there. You can see all that fun texture that you get with it. And then, oh, I should point this out too. So this is a foil sheet that I used on one of the cards I made. In fact, I can show you the cards. So I used this the foil on the opposite of this one. So these were white, the background was black. So the foil sticks to where the toner ink is, right? So this is the one that I made, and this is what was left over. So if I wanted to, I could actually use this and just line it up, and I could just get a twofer on that, right? But I don't really like the green with that. But I think this would be fun. I'm holding on to this because I may want to just use it on black or another day. So I just have that in my little package of this. So I'm thinking it might be kind of fun to just do tone on tone, solid and sketch. Let's do that. I'm going to use a piece of purple. Kind of in a purple mood today. Do you ever go through that where you just have certain colors that you're enjoying? All right, so I'm grabbing a piece of foil out of there.
Candy said I was still buying this glitter machine.
Oh, okay, Candy. I gotcha.
She said she loves the blue and green.
The blue and green card?
Your card, yeah.
Oh, thanks, Candy.
She says it's a beautiful card.
Thank you so much. All right, I can't find where I put the lid to this. Oh, there it is, right by my hand. Okay, so, oh, I should show you the rest of the cards really quick. So I also made this card that uses the stamps, and then I used a die to just cut out, I used a piece of one of my extra pieces of toner paper, and I just used a tiny piece and cut out a bunch of little leaves and foiled that. And then if you look really close, the window die that I used, this is the Solarium window die. I actually just cut that out of toner sheet, which I should show you. We also have just the toner sheets by themselves. So you could use a full panel if you wanted to on a card, and just, you could die cut it, you could do whatever, but this is what the foil sticks to. So this is really a fun thing to have in your collection. So anyway, I just cut out the Solarium window, and then I used that shattered glass on top. And so it's really subtle because it's such a finely cut die, but you can see it gives it just a little bit of shine. And then this up here is the sketch in silver. So kind of fun. And then this one also uses the shattered glass. This one I used Chroma Glaze to make my butterflies, and then the shattered glass is just on, it's just kind of subtle because it's just on that top layer. And then this one, I did do a full panel of shattered glass on a piece of watercolor paper, which kind of gave it a fun texture. And then this right here is the purple sketch, and this is one of the stamps from the set. All right, so now let's get going on this. So we're gonna cut our foil down just a little bit. I think we'll do this one in the purple. Let's do the background in the purple. So I'm just gonna trim up my foil because we don't need the whole sheet. And then we've got the solid purple that we need. Okay, so now let's get to the good stuff. We are going to see what we come up with here. Let's do our solid ones. I cut down one of these, are the carrier sheets. They're quite a bit larger than this, but I just cut mine down because I don't need it quite so large. So now we'll just stick that in our little carrier sheet. And this is just a laminator machine. It's nothing special, nothing that's specifically designed for foil or anything. It's just a special from an online store we are all familiar with that sells just about everything under the sun. And it was super cheap and just works just fine. All right, guys, are you ready to see what we came up with? Let's look and see. It looks like it is sticking pretty well. This part always scares me a little bit. Let's look and see what we got. So far so good. And you want to peel it fairly slowly because you don't want to take any more foil off than you are supposed to, right? Okay, look at that. Woo! Love that. Okay, so we'll put that aside for a minute, and then I've got this other piece. Now we'll put the sketch.
Nancy said beautiful.
Who said that?
Nancy.
Oh, thank you, Nancy.
And thanks for using purple.
Hey, purple is Darren's favorite color, so he likes it when I use purple. Okay, so let's slide this guy in.
Nancy said she just joined. She'll have to watch the beginning when we're done.
All right, Nancy, well, I'm glad you jumped in. I don't think you really missed anything too crazy. I went over what's in this Magical Monarch collection. Let's see.
I'm putting up the link again.
And Darren is putting up the link again. I'm going to put this through one more time just because it looked like there might be a little spot at the bottom that didn't catch, but I don't know. I told you I'm no expert, but we're going to play. So we'll see what happens. I usually like to make kind of a dry run card just to make sure everything's going to work out okay, but I'm limited because I just have one of each, right? So it scares me just a little bit. It's good for me. It pushes me a little bit. So we'll just see what happens. We're winging it. Okay, let's see what we got. So I hope it works because I can see it puckered a little bit. And this is why it makes me a little bit nervous when I do this. It looks like it puckered where there's not supposed to be any foil anyway. I think it worked just fine. Yay, look at that. So now I think we should combine these to make a card. So what we're going to do... Yeah, it looks really cool, huh? We're actually going to die cut some of these out. Maybe not all of them, just some of them maybe. We'll see. And then these will show through the other side. We'll try it out. We'll see what it looks like. We will experiment. What was that?
Candy asked, did you get your Create Your Own Ending box?
Candy, I did get my Create Your Own Ending box. It is ginormous.
And are you Team Peak or Team No Peak?
I am so not Team No Peak. I opened that sucker up the second it got here. Oh, that's funny. Okay, I think we'll just use this guy so that we can have all of this show through. And should we just do some of it, or do you think we should do all of it? Let's try one out and see what we think. Okay, so now, oh, it looks like I needed to... I didn't really think that through all the way because I forgot that it has the cut all the way around, but that's okay. That's all right. We will roll with it. So now we can just have our butterflies showing through, which I think is pretty cool. So let's just do that on all of them. And actually you could use these little guys. You could, I think it'd be cool to put ink on the butterflies and have the foil around the edges like that. All right, so we're gonna do this guy. Just trying to decide if I want to try to do all of them or not. I think we'll go down the middle for sure.
Candy said, I love this concept, the two purples.
Thanks, Candy. It's so much fun, and this is so user-friendly. Like I said, I was a little intimidated by foiling, and this has been a good exercise for me to play with it and just kind of have fun and see what you can do with it. And then you find out you really like other things too. All right, so this one, we will have to paper piece this piece back on because it's a little close to the bottom, but that's okay, we can do that. So you've got this, and then you just need to save that piece so that you can glue that on after. Yeah, I think we'll just do the 3. So I'm going to do one more. All right, so we need to save this little guy. And now we can just kind of glue those together. Let's do that right now so we don't have to worry about losing the pieces. If you're really feeling ambitious, you could put a piece of clear acetate behind it and you could make a shaker card and pop it up a little bit. But I'm just going to stick to simple today. See, I like that. I don't even know that you have to do that, but I kind of want to do that. But I think that you actually, it looks okay without it. So I'm just going to use glue. Glue's just fast and easy. This is barely art glue and I love it. Okay, so we've got that piece on there. And looks like we're off a little bit, but that's okay. I think it's all right. And then we're gonna add this little piece at the bottom. And I wanna get this one on pretty tight because I'm gonna trim my card up after. But I wanted to have all the pieces on before I do that. I'm gonna let it dry for a bit before I do that. Thankfully, this glue dries pretty fast. But let's get that little piece in there. Looks like I've got it. Whew. Right now it's slick. Put that glue on it. Okay. So get it as straight as you can. Make sure you got it in the right spot. Most of that's gonna get cut off anyway, but we want to position it as best we can. All right, so now we've got this little guy. And that one's pretty close, I think. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry for just a minute just to make sure the glue's nice and tight on there, dried up. And now I think we should add some foil to this guy. So I'm going to take a piece of this summer sunset, is that what it? No, summer rainbow. The funny thing about the foil is I've got the air conditioner is blowing, and so I'm having to be careful not to let it fly away while I'm working. Okay, let's see what we get with this. I'm kind of excited to see. It's always kind of magical, you know? All right, are you guys ready? I'm excited. And this is almost dry enough. I can see that it's just a little bit wet still right there. So we'll do that one very last. But I love Chroma Glaze. I love just the look of this with just the Chroma Glaze and the second layer. I think that's really pretty. And I love that our Chroma Glaze coordinates with the I don't know that it was on purpose, but I love that it goes with the Simon Hurley ink so well, because I love Simon Hurley ink. Okay, are you guys ready? Here comes the big reveal. So far, I am loving this. Yay! So now we've got this fun inked and foiled panel that we can use. Isn't that fun? And really, when you have a card like this with such big, bold print on it anyway, you really don't need to do a whole lot more to it. We will make this into a card in just a second. And then I've got this whole fun piece that we can use on another project another day. All right, so far we've got that one and this one, and we're waiting on that other one to dry. So let's go ahead and start working with these. I'm gonna cut them down just a little bit. I just really like the way a mat looks on a card. So I'm gonna trim this down. These are A2 sized, so 5.5 by 4 1/4 square, or not square, but rectangles. And I'm going to cut it down to 3 3/4 by 5. Okay, so already looks pretty good to me. I already cut a matte for it. And I'm just going to use black, I think. And then I'm going to use one of my pre-scored, pre-cut card bases, which I absolutely love. And honestly, I'm just going to pop maybe a couple of enamel dots or sequins or something on that, and then a sentiment, and I'm going to call this one good. I think that these are just pretty all by themselves. Whenever I do like fun backgrounds or anything, I don't like covering everything up. And I think these are so pretty on their own. They just don't need a whole lot more. And those butterflies are nice and big and bold, and so we don't want anything to detract from that. Let's get that on our card base. Let's see. So I just grabbed a bunch of conversation clippings. So if you are familiar with our inspiration box, something you can always expect to see is that we get the toner sheets, the card panels, and we also get the conversation clippings, and they are also printed with toner. So because of that, you can use them with foil. And I just grabbed, some of these may not be available. I will just give that little disclaimer because I've had them for a while. I know I think these ones are from the Butterfly, and I don't remember what it was called. Butterfly Wishes, I think, was the inspiration box last year. So I thought I might use it just because it has some butterfly sayings. So if you'll let me, I'm going to do that. Or, what's this one from? This one has some rainbow sayings, and this one is from this month's. So I'm going to use one of these. Let's see. I think for that one, you know what? I like this one. This one says positive vibes coming your way. And I think with all that, I just think that one seems like it would be a good fit. So should we do black and foil it? No, I think we should do white and foil the words. That one I kind of like too. The world needs more people like you. Let's do that one. It's ready to go. Then you don't have to sit there and wait for me to... Oh, this must have been meant to be because I just found it. So we're going to do that one. So now I've got all of this that I could use. I could just use some purple if I wanted, which kind of goes with it. I'm just trying to decide if I want to use this because I might want to use this whole thing on another card. Know what I'm saying? I think I'm going to use the purple. So keeping your little scraps is not a bad idea. Okay, so now I just need to stick it in our little carrier sheet. And let's see what we think of that. And if we don't like the purple with this, we can always put it with this one, right? All right, my carrier sheet is like way longer than my actual. Most of that was just waiting for it to come through. Okay, let's see what this does. Ooh, look. So now our sentiment is shiny too. I kind of like that. And I actually like it in the purple. I think that's kind of a nice. All right, so I think we might just center that down below that butterfly, or do we want to? Yeah, I kind of like it centered. And then I think we'll just add a few little sequins. What do you guys think? So I think we'll just add a couple of these on this side, maybe one over here. It doesn't need a whole lot, I don't feel like. But I'm kind of liking that color. Should we try doing more than one color? I usually try to stay with the same color, but since I'm working outside the box a little bit, maybe I'll see what I think of different colors. Well, I could do that a lot easier if they would stop sticking to me. There we go. No, I kind of like it. this way. Okay. These big life decisions, you know. We just will kind of let that, set that aside. And I think that's great. And you could make a ton of these. Now let's cut this one down a little bit. I'm cutting it also to the same size as the other one. So it's going to be 3 3/4 by 5. So I'm just cutting off 1/4 inch from each side so that the pattern will be even on all the sides. And again, I already have our card base ready to go. Not our card base, but our mat. You know what I mean. And then we'll just add this one also to a card base. See if I can do a better job centering this one on the first try. I separate my embellishments by color. So I could just go through, if I wanted to add a little flower, I could add a flower. Looks like I've got some purple chickens in there. Just looking to see if I had any. Got some little jewels. I think those might be good. Let's use jewels. Those seem like they would be. Seems like a jewel kind of card. We just need to add a sentiment as well, but I think on this one we'll just use black. And just keep it black. Just to kind of tie the mat into it. So I just did happy birthday. We can put that, we can actually put it right across the middle if we wanted. But I don't really like that it covers up our beautiful butterfly. This one's a dilemma. This is by far my biggest challenge for card making, is where to put the sentiment. All right, I might want a longer one. Hang on one sec. Okay, I think I'm gonna like the longer one better. Even if we put it in the middle, I like it better, but I think I still like it down a little lower. And this one says, "You always know what I need to hear." So I'll just add that right down here. And let's just add some jewels. So again, just a simple card. And let's do our last card really quick. I think the timing was perfect, because now we can go ahead and we can use our shattered glass. I'm so excited for you to see this. It is so pretty. So be watching the Brutus Monroe social media, because there's tons of projects with people who are definitely more expert than me on this, but also just look and see all of the fun things that you can do with this collection. There are so many fun things, so many combinations you can do, so many different ways you can use all of it together or separately. So let's see what happened this time. Let's see if it worked. All right. After all that buildup, I sure hope it did. Look at that. Isn't that fun?
Pretty cool.
It is way fun. I'm just going to trim this down, pop it on our card base. We're going to trim this side because this side is the side that didn't quite get all the way to the edge. And then we're doing this to 3 3/4 by 5. And again, I'm just trimming 1/4 inch from all the sides. All right, so now we'll just add that to a card base really quick. A mat and a card base, I should say. Let's add a card base and then let's see what we want to do with this. I feel like it needs a little something, but nothing too big. Maybe we'll just add a little flag going down or something. Just gonna take a square punch to cut a little divot out of my strip so I can, yeah, I think it just needed a little something. Nothing too big, just a little something to break it up. I think that'll work. Let's try that. When it posts on Saturday, you may see something different. It may bug me too much. I may move things around. You never know. But I always kind of reserve that right. I think it's a good idea when you're not sure to just kind of walk away from something and come back and look at it again with fresh eyes. But when you're live, you can't really do that. So we have to just kind of go with it. Now that I have all that glue on there, I'm thinking it might have been better to use the tape. Hopefully the glue will stick to the foil. Seems to. That's good. I almost like that. Maybe it's too weird though to read the sentiment going that way. It's a little weird. I'm telling you, this one's giving me a little trouble. I might change the sentiment altogether. Let's try one more thing. Yeah, I like it better horizontal than I did.
What conversation clippings are these from? You missed it.
I think these ones are from last year's butterfly box. Based on the sentiments I was reading from it. I just have a whole bag full of these that I haven't filed away yet. I'm thinking I might put a little circle on there, but I don't know. Sometimes I think less is more and I get a little crazy. So maybe we'll just keep it simple and just put it.
And it's a lovely colors and how electro pop it is.
Thanks, Candy. I think it's fun too.
Nancy said happy birthday.
The happy birthday one better? I just can't center it without it kind of going over the edge is the only reason why I was kind of wondering. But the black kind of blends in anyway. So, okay. Nancy, you win. Okay. Well, this is what we got, guys. We've got 3 cards. This one, I would love to tell you that they were all an hour, but just putting all of these on and waiting for them to dry in between. That one would take a little bit longer, but it was definitely not difficult. It was a lot of fun. And these came together super quick. So these two were probably a half hour or so or less. I'm slow, so you guys could probably do it faster than me. Thank you so much for joining me for my live. I really appreciate that. And I will be with you next week with a kind of a surprise that hopefully you'll be excited about too. And I will see you then with a new project. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.